It's 2:32. It's 93 XRT. Bobby Scafish here, and we have company, and we're just thrilled about it. We'd like to bring on now a very talented songwriter, performer, and recording artist. He's going to be performing some songs he wrote tonight. Sold out XRT show at the Vic. His latest disc is a 2-CD set. It's on the Vagrant label. It's entitled Stereo. He's from the land of 10,000 Lakes. Welcome, Paul Westerberg.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you here.
Actually, it's sort of stereo mono. We couldn't figure out how to name the thing. It's two records in one, but you can call it stereo.
Yeah, well, it says stereo on the spine, and yet you have a disc in here entitled Mono.
It was supposed to be, if you flipped it over, it would say mono, but it didn't. It got lost in the shuffle, but that doesn't matter.
Okay, well, while we're explaining things on the CD, you have an alter ego, Grandpa Boy.
I do.
Who made one of the discs here. Well, what's the roots of Grandpa Boy?
The roots of Grandpa Boy go way back. Well, the theory was that he was born somewhere, he plays the guitar, and do not try to be his friend because he will not like you.
If the baseball rolls into his yard, you don't see it again then, huh?
He ain't got no yard. He lives by the creek. Yeah, I mean, it's like, for years with the Replacements, we used to play a certain kind of rock and roll, and I've played that rock and roll before the Replacements, and during, and after, and I've just sort of deemed it Grandpa Boy just to have a little fun with people this time. We put the Grandpa Boy Out record first, just to see what they would think, and a lot of people thought it was Tommy and whoever, and I got a chuckle out of it, because it was just me in the basement.
Got it. Tommy is Tommy Stinson, who was a bass player in the Replacements back in the day, as the expression goes.
Yeah.
And our guest is Paul Westerberg, ex of the Replacements, solo artist. Sold out show tonight at the Vic.
Mm-hmm.
And you got any pet peeves, things that the folks in the audience can do that just don't go over with you and distract you and vex you?
Well, I don't, a woman with a mustache has always been hard on me. No, as long as I'm not pelted with debris, I don't mind shouts and claps, and I mean, it isn't a church service, or maybe it is in a way. I mean, we've been getting a lot of love at most of the gigs. It's just me, so that's to be made clear. A lot of times people are thinking it's me with a band. This is me solo, and excuse me. It's not all acoustic. It's a lot of it's, me playing electric guitar, which is how I actually wrote many of the early songs, standing up with an electric guitar, stomping my foot. So you get a chance to kind of see how the song was born. And there's a fresh feeling to some of the old songs that you might be surprised that it sounds a lot more like it did on the record than it did with those bands I threw together to sound like the Mats.
Okay. All right. Can you play us a tune now?
Sure, I'll play you one from the new record. It's called Let the Bad Times Roll.
Where the good times hide, and so will I. It's out of my control. I dig a hole. I'm gonna let the bad times roll. I'm gonna let the bad times roll. And if that's all the time that you got, then I'd rather not waste my life on hold. I'm gonna let like my father, I'm disappointed. Just add water, I'll miss the point. Just add water, I'm disappointed. I see my best friend there tonight. Maybe I might never let you go. Where the good times hide, baby, and so will I. Watch the world roll by. From my home, I'm gonna let the bad times roll. Never let them take you home. I'm gonna let the bad times roll. Never gonna take me home. I'm gonna let the bad times roll.
Got to wake up that throat, you know. It's just, these aren't rock and roll hours.
That may be, but that was a wonderful performance. What a great, great, great rendition of Let the Bad Times Roll. That's on the 2 CD set.
Yeah,
that's from the stereo side of things.
Yeah.
And in a way, that title of the song and the sentiment, Let the Bad Times Roll, it's kind of indicative of your whole approach to the set here, where you weren't concerned with studio trickery and such.
Yeah.
It's let the bad times roll, meaning it's naked emotion. It's you laying it on the line, and take it or leave it, right?
I wrote the song actually possibly for a film. That was what inspired it. I mean, I guess I was feeling that way, but there's an optimistic point to the song that people tend to miss, which is, if this is the best you have to offer, then I'll accept it and roll with it.
Nice, nice. We've written so many great songs, and I don't think it's any secret that some real heroes to you were the Faces back in the day. And I'm wondering now, I imagine when you do your concert tonight and on your tour, you do some new stuff, you do some old stuff, and maybe you throw in a few cover versions. Have you ever tackled any cover versions by the Faces or Rod Stewart solo?
You know, I don't think I ever have, and I don't know why. Just probably because I never could sing it. The closest I ever came is, I think I tried to do "Debris" once, Ronnie Lane.
That would make me cry.
Yeah, I mean I love. I have a cherished picture I have of myself and Tommy and Ronnie Lane in his wheelchair in a parking lot in Texas. You know, before he died, and he was the sweetest man in the world, and I loved him. And of course, I loved, you know, the rock and roll side of the band too. But
yeah. I'd love to hear you work up Debris sometime. That would really be something. And I saw that you wrote a review in Mojo Magazine of Never a Dull Moment, the Rod Stewart album from '72, which was cool to see your take on that.
Yeah, it was probably the record that was sitting on my desk when I was talking to the guy, but I stand by it. It was maybe the first record I bought, or two, and what I liked about it is it for its era, it encompassed acoustic and electric, and it was rock and roll, and yet it didn't fall toward the Burrito Brothers West Coast cowboy thing. It had a little bit of a, you know, English flashy swagger to it that I was drawn toward, you know, and you know, not glam, but closer to that than cowboy.
Yeah. They were fops, I think. Sometimes you would hear a phrase like that. They were well-dressed dudes.
They were fops that would kick your teeth in, you know.
You go. And one more question, actually, regarding the Faces, then we'll move on. The Faces was a band. They had a reputation as being boozers.
Oh, yeah.
And your band, The Replacements, had that same reputation. Was it sort of like a conscious emulation of the Faces, or was it a nerve tonic when you guys would drink? What was a brief story behind that, if I may?
Well, I mean, that's like asking, did Dean Martin drink because of Frank? I mean... He drank because his dad drank, because his dad drank. It's like we were cut from the same working class cloth. I'm closest to McLagan. In fact, I spoke to him recently because I heard that Woody was sort of in a bad shape, but he called me back and told me he was doing really well and getting ready for the tour, and I'd love to run into Ian again someday because he played on one of my records, and that I think is the highlight. If you have to ask me of what was my favorite moment in the studio, when he came and played it on Silver Naked Ladies, hungover, but dressed to the nines, and I just had goosebumps.
Did you read his book, Ian McLagan's book?
I did. I mean, he's no Hemingway, but I hope he got paid.
All righty. It's 93 XRT. Paul Westerberg is our guest, and we'd love to get another tune out of you now. Paul, you got the 12-string?
Yeah, I got the 12-string, and I'll try a song that I've never played before, but I've always liked. It was written by Jackson Browne.
I've been out walking. I don't do too much talking these days. Days I tend to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do, and other times I had the chance to. I stopped my rambling. I don't do too much gambling these days. These days I seem to think about all the changes came about my way. And I wondered if I'd ever see another highway. I had a lover. I don't think I'll risk another these days. These days. And if it seems to be afraid to live the songs that I've made in song, it's just that I've been afraid of losing so long. I stop my dreaming. I don't do too much screaming these days. These days I tend to count the stones. I count the time, quarter tones till 10. Please don't remind me of my failures. I have not forgotten them.
Correct.
Wow. What do we do to deserve this? Paul Westerberg performing live on XRT. Sold out show tonight at the Vic for Mr. Westerberg. And I read something. I don't know if it was a Rolling Stone website, Across the Wire, what it was, but you were doing a tour where you were performing at record stores, including Virgin Records here in town.
Right.
And shortly after your appearance in Chicago, that you had to cancel some due to exhaustion, right? Or was that right?
No, I was just an obstinate creep. And I was too close to home to want to go to Texas, then Toronto. I mean, I played... it was my idea to do the in-stores, and they were working out so well, I thought, like, well, this is ridiculous. It's like, I don't need to go home and form a band. Let's go home, take some days off, and book a tour. And a couple people got upset in Texas, and I played up in Toronto the other night and signed some autographs. And, I've been signing autographs after the show, mainly in the cities that I didn't do the in-stores in, so I'm not sure if I'm going to stand out there by the bus for 1,000 people tonight, because I sort of did that once. But I forgot the question. But no, that illness stuff is jive. It's just, I just said the heck with it. I want to go home.
So that's sort of like the spin a publicist puts on it or something, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was sick in Minneapolis before the gigs, but I did them and it went fine. I mean, there's sick and there's like truly ill where you can't perform. It's like half the time most performers are feeling under the weather. You get up on stage and you're fine.
Okay. All right. Basically, one final question. When you put out your album eventually, which I like quite a bit, both on the artwork on the CD and all your subsequent appearances, I saw you both 4th of July down at Grant Park, and I saw you the night before at Metro, and I saw you on TV. You were always wearing either a suit or a tie and jacket. And my interpretation of that was you wanted to dress for success, that it was your way of distancing yourself, sort of saying, hey, that guy with the holy T-shirts and the flannel shirts, that had its place back then. I've moved on. Is there any truth to my cockeyed theory here?
There's truth to that. There was a number of facets to it. That was a main part of it. Another point was that I was tired. I mean, I was like, I wanted myself to feel better. I wanted to make myself feel better. I tell you what, it got me through the airports quicker. It got me in my room quicker. And it did piss off a lot of people who thought rock and roll was, holy shirts and stuff. I mean, some of the greatest rock and roll was very slick and very flashy.
Hey, I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. Come on.
I mean, exactly. And it's like, it's not the clothes that make the man. So it's like, I got a different get up this time, but it was just it was a phase,
Got it. One more tune, please.
Okay, this one might be I might fall flat on my face on this baby. So that's what I love to do best. By the way, that's the bracelet. That's the prerequisite Bob Dylan bracelet thing.
Beads of sweat glimmer to the ground. Golden tears shimmer soft and round. Throwing small shadows, shadows that fall at my feet. Black-eyed Susan dancing in the breeze. See your slight body relax. Soon your young veins will collapse. So throwing small shadows, kiss those that fall at my feet. Black-eyed Susan dancing just for me. Black-eyed Susan dancing in the breeze. They Painted your curb, you know where to park. Painted your face, find you in the dark. You're a night girl, come on, dance for me. See the bright pearl sink in a sky of ebony, throwing small shadows, catch those that fall at my feet, like-eyed Susan dancing in the breeze, throwing small shadows, catch those that fall at my feet, like-eyed Susan dancing just for me. Like-eyed Susan dancing just for me.
Thank you, Paul. Paul Westerberg. Go Twins.
Thank you. Go Twins. They're on a losing streak, but that's because I've been away.
I knew there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
The concert tonight is sold out. XRT show at the Vic and the latest disc. You'll find it under Paul Westerberg. It says stereo. There's a 2-disc set within. Mono is the other one from the Alter Ego Grandpa Boy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bobby.